more committed relationships too. And I want you to stay open to that because there are more people on the big apps. Now, having said that, it's not a numbers game. You only need one. And it might be that you join a niche app like or one of the ones that came up this week was a specific app for people who love being out in the countryside or maybe are from farming backgrounds. So, you might choose a niche app and you might only get 2 or 3 inquiries, but you might get the one who's interested in what you're interested in and who will light your fire, so to speak. So, number 1, determine your dating goals. If you're having trouble doing that, come on the Magnetic Dating Profile Workshop Masterclass, which will take you through that. Or at the very least, you can get a copy of the workbook and I'll put a link to that underneath. 2, consider your demographic. So do you belong to a specific age group, religious community, or have a particular sexual orientation? Some apps are better for others, depending on your demographic. So the silver singles out there, and silver singles is for people that I think are over 50, and there's other apps that are more appropriate for younger people. You've got to find your demographic, get clear, and then choose what works for you. Great. 3, do a little bit of research around different dating apps. Now, I can only give generic information here. Obviously, I've got some insight into different apps, but my advice will be different for each and every one of you. So I would say investigate at least 3 apps, if apps are the way you're going to go, and consider factors such as reputation, their user base, success stories, and app ratings about how easy they are to use. Then evaluate the features based on your preferences. One of the things that I talk about in the masterclass is for people to think about, do you prefer being on the phone? Do you prefer video calls for your first interactions? Do you want to be able to share your information with somebody, or would you prefer to keep yourself much more secret and until you're ready to share your information? All of the different apps have different features, and you've got to choose one that suits you well and how you operate. Number 5 is read reviews and user feedback. Ask friends also who've been successful on apps, what did they use? In my delightful dating journey, I used a number of apps, and also in my research, I've used a number of apps. And yeah, some resonate, some really didn't. And, some of them required to fill out lots of information. So from spiritual singles where, gosh, I think it took me a week to complete all the questions and fill out the profile, to something, like Tinder, where there isn't that much detail to put in right at the beginning, or Bumble, or Match. Match requires a bit more. You do some some psychometric testing, and all of them have different features, but look at the reviews and get feedback from people. Number 6 is to check for safety measures, and this is about ensuring that the app prioritizes user safety by making sure that there's ticks for profile verification. So one of the things I do want you to be aware of if you're on online apps is that there are a percentage of them that are catfishing and that aren't real. And I get the feeling from the people that I've worked with is that for the male profile, so female profiles for men, or if you're in a homosexual relationship or looking for one, there are a lot of female profiles that are more fake than men. I mean, I think, to be honest, there's fake profiles out there. You've got to keep yourself safe. Choose a reputable app that prioritizes that, and look for the ticks when somebody's been verified. Next is consider the cost. So many apps have free options. So you can check out the app when you're doing your research to see if its functionality works for you. Often you then have to pay in order to be able to message someone, in order to be able to filter, in order to make sure that people don't, you might want to be incognito. So you often will have to pay to be incognito to look at other people's profiles and not be seen, or not be seen to tick on theirs. Now, again, the budget you set for your online dating needs to be one that you feel comfortable with. I would say that it is worth paying, but when you found an app that suits you, that feels like the right one for you. Point 8 is to test the user interface. So again, download the app, try it out. If it isn't easy to use, if it doesn't suit you, start again, find another one. Don't feel as though just because you've committed to one, you have to stay with it. Check out the free features first, get some feedback. If you want to message me in the Facebook group, please do. If you're checking something out, I can have a look. As long as it's going to be for the greater good of the group. 9 is look for local presence. So if you want somebody local, look for an app that has people in your area. Now, I will say this also from experience, in that when I came to Barbados and I was still in my delightful dating phase, really enjoying that, everyone said, nobody uses Bumble, nobody uses Match in Barbados. So you're not going to meet anyone. You'll have people that are on different islands. You might have people in the UK and the US because they're passing through, but local people use Tinder. Now, make sure that the app you choose, if you want somebody local and if you don't want to be doing a long distance relationship, that you choose something that has local presence. So that also means doing your research, asking advice from people, and choosing something where you know that it's got location based and you're likely to have somebody who you can work with. If you're okay with a long distance relationship, you've got more options. So something like Spiritual Singles, from my own experience, they tended to have people all over the world. Most of those people, or some of those people, were interested in potentially relocating. You can put that as a criteria in your profile, that they have to be interested in relocating. Number 10 is consider the app's reputation and longevity. So some apps have been around for a long time. One of the good things about choosing some of the apps that have been around for a long time is they do have a lot of people moving through them. Having said that, you only need one. So if there's a niche app that you're drawn to and you feel like you want to really call in the possibility of meeting someone around a particular presence, around a particular hobby of yours, around a particular core value of yours, then definitely check out a more specific app. Even if it's not been around that long, it might still serve your needs. Okay. Number 11 is check for additional services. So some apps like Match, they offer additional in-person meetups. So there's people that are on the app that are local, and then they may be, depending on where you live, there may be an option to meet people in a group situation. So that widens your scope, takes the online dating offline, and gives you some more options. Number 12 is trust your instincts around this. Now, I'm saying that with a caveat because I know some of you, your instincts are a little off, especially around dating. But ultimately, I want you to run it through your body, your heart, your mind, and your soul. Get into alignment. And with delightful dating, my whole approach is about you having your dating life as a ritual. So when you're going on the app, light your candle, say your prayer, send out your message to your beloved that today is the day I would love to meet you. Perhaps today is the date that we will connect on the internet. Perhaps today is the day that we will meet at the coffee shop. So really allow your energy to expand. This is part of the reason why my approach is a bit different, is that I want to encourage you to make this truly delightful, joyful experience for you, where you can call in the one in a way that feels light, inspired, and that brings you joy. So try different apps, switch them up if they don't meet your expectations. Know that sometimes it happens quickly, sometimes you need to give yourself a bit of time. But once you set your intention, coming back to point number one, set your intention, get your goals, then you are going to be inspired and delighted by what comes. And I love the message from Antonia. It's like, I love listening to me, even though she's not in the space of dating, she's in the beloved space. She's got a beautiful beloved. What I want to encourage you is to move into that space of real, long-term, juicy loving. And essentially that's what this is about. This is a cycle. And it's a cycle whether you're in an existing relationship or not. Sometimes we need to close the old dynamic in terms of courageous closure. Sometimes we need to recover from a relationship change or challenge. Then we can get into the place of actually being in love longing. So opening up to the love that we actually desire. Delightful dating, where we're getting out there, whether we're in an existing relationship or we're looking for a relationship, we start to date ourselves, and then we invite the other to join us. And then once we move there, the next stage is to get into blissful bonding, that phase where once you started to date, it's like, how do we take this deeper? And then long-term loving. How do we grow together? How do we expand our love? So I really want to encourage you to open up to the whole delightful dating cycle, and choosing an app is just one part of it. Okay? I hope this has been useful for you. As I say, this is included in the Magnetic Dating Profile and Dating Strategy workbook that comes with the Delightful Dating Masterclass, Magnetic Profile Masterclass. So if you've not done that yet, feel free. I've got one at the end of the month, and we run them about monthly. And you can get access to the workbook separately, and I'll put a link to that underneath this video. I hope that's useful for you. I'm sending you so much love. Until we meet again, I hope that your dating is delightful. Put a comment, a heart, a like underneath this video if you've watched and if you found it useful. I'm going to go live every week here in the Delightful Dating Hub, on my YouTube channel, and in the Wild Wisdom. So at the moment we're in the season of Wild Heart Wisdom. So if you are interested, just reach out to me, send me a personal message, and I will share what I'm doing with you. Take care. Lots of love. Boundless love and blessings.